OG. I'm like,
hey everybody, my name is Corey Fells. Darius and I and Dr. Nuss kind of started this because we've experienced our own mental anguish, or specifically mental trauma. I really started to understand the need for therapy when people around me were telling me hey, your communication is off. What do you mean by that?
We have a lot of internalized trauma that we all go through that we think is just regular stuff, and we, kind of hold it in and we kind of just deal with it.
You don't learn how to be vulnerable. I'm doing what society told me, and as a man, is to be strong, be on, provide, do all the stuff you're supposed to do. So I never learned how to be vulnerable.
I think that a lot of it comes from black and brown people just being resilient. We're resilient because we have to be.
Well, with black and brown men having to do twice the work in our society, whether it be at work, whether it be at home at times, feeling this, and then it being said to you in many avenues in your lives. How do you think that affects you on a daily basis as far as your functioning mentally and physically? Had you ever looked at that before? Hey babe, can you get the box, the green box? So I gotta get all the stuff so we can make sure that we have all the artwork together. And I grew up in one of the most impoverished neighborhoods in the U.S. My mom was a single mom, and it was myself and my brother. Throughout that time, we lived in housing projects until she was able to get a job as a secretary with the state of Wisconsin, and she worked her way all the way up to the director of the state of Wisconsin.
Huh? You make a killer water. I specialize in that. That's actually my forte. I grew up with only my mom being pretty prominent in my life. My sisters are much older than I was as a kid, or still now to this day. Me and my mom pretty much were just together all the time. I was a mama's boy.
You want to jump?
There we go. I was rolling on that, by the way.
I think for me, I'm a dreamer. I like to see myself as someone that's always fighting against the odds. So I guess I'm an underdog. I was able to get a full ride scholarship to Alabama A&M, but I didn't go because I had my daughter, and I chose to be a father instead. So I stayed here in Milwaukee, and I chose the longer road instead of the shorter road. So it was worth it.
My mom was a really strong structure in my life. She made sure that, we had everything we needed, even though we didn't have a lot of money. My grandfather would walk back and forth to the store to make sure we had certain things that we needed, and many times he fell prey to theft and being robbed and burglarized on the way back and forth to the store.
I went to a predominantly white high school. My mom wanted me to be able to have the best education and just the best resources possible. So she enrolled me into this 220 program, which is a lottery essentially for inner city kids to be bused out to suburban schools. And I would have to attend or get my first bus at 5:30 just to be able to attend school on time at 7:45. And I had to take 3 buses in order to get to school on time. Wanted to just do this for Ricardo so he can see relatively. My freshman year, I started to attend a classmate of mine home, and I remember one time the mom actually came by during her lunch break just to see how the house was, and she looked at me, then she told her son, hey, I want you to come into the living room, I want to talk to you. And after that, I wasn't allowed to be able to come into the kids' house anymore. But he didn't directly tell me. He just kind of told me that he's not having lunch anymore at his house. I did not understand that what that really meant until I started seeing kids actually still going to his house. I couldn't break it to my mom because I know my mom would have definitely felt sad and felt very angry that I experienced that. So I kind of kept that to myself.
We specifically hired him to work with students of color because we know that disproportionately that's who the pandemic has impacted, not just, data-wise.
Black lives! Black lives!
Before I had my very, very first protest, I didn't know if I was gonna make it home, just because of the fact that previous day, it was the right-wing group. They was out in Milwaukee, the place that I was gonna protest with their assault rifles and everything and agitating everything. So I didn't know how this could end. And it took a lot mentally to have to internalize that and materialize that in your mind, like this could be it for you. This literally could be it for you. So actually, that protest, people came with their assault rifles and everything, and they had a conversation with me, and they said, hey, man, everybody called me over, hey, we really want to talk to you. And the guy was like, yeah, we really want to march with you guys, and we got you a gift. I don't understand why he would do this, but the gift was a bulletproof vest. Why do I need that and y'all got the guns? As crazy as it may be, this isn't the first time. So what you're doing is nothing new to me. You just don't got a badge.
At the very tail end of my sophomore year, my mom told me, hey, Corey, I have breast cancer and I have to kind of figure out what is the next move. My mom passed at the end of my junior year. Everyone was crying, even at the funeral, and I did not know what to make of it because immediately survival took precedence. Not emotions, not me worrying about how I felt or anything like that. I needed to know when was my next meal going to come and where was I going to live. So immediately while I was worried about that, my family saw that there was a young boy that lost his mom and didn't cry. So I was presented senior year with my very first therapist. It was a white guy that lived 30 minutes away from where I lived. And I think our therapy sessions were more or less me talking about what was black culture more than what the issues that I was presented at the time.
I'm just gonna go upstairs and go in the bar area and record and then come back and give you guys back the keys. I see this.
I'm stuck in my ways, The times was different, that type of stuff, so you ain't doing nothing wrong. It's a tricky situation, but, I think, just you kind of got to be honest. Like, hey, these therapy experiences that we have is, it's everything for me. It means a lot because this is literally my first experience with any forms of therapy. So as well as I put this together to help other people out, I'm on a boat with them, riding for help. I'm not leading it. We on this together.
It's gotten to a point for me that I honestly just need someone to talk to. And I want to, I want to be vulnerable in a space where I can feel safe, I can feel protected, and see where it goes.
June 25th is my mom's anniversary of her death. And sometimes that lands on a weekday. But every single year, I just tell the job, hey, I'm not going to be able to attend work that day. There's a huge thirst and a huge need for this. And with this specifically being for free, these people are experiencing a type of therapy. This group therapeutic experience is something that's needed not only in Milwaukee, but throughout the country.
It was something that was always needed. However, what triggered it was what was going on in the climate at the time as far as the marches that Darius was in. People were being more blatant with the disrespect. So instead of just doing it due to COVID, due to the murders that had been happening, and there were many more murders that were happening here than were publicized nationally. So my opinion and our thoughts as Black Space, it's always been needed.
It just gets uncomfortable when you switch from that, joking, ha ha ha, and then you're like, dang, I'm not feeling good up here, fellas. Like, it's just kind of a shift that we're not used to. So
all these sort of things. So as you said, like vulnerability as a man is not actually taught to you, especially as a black man, because you know it's some shit that you're gonna have to deal with in life, and all your parents is trying to do is prepare you for that long, tough road that you're gonna have to deal with.
I believe that, number one, we've had a really fruitful discussion here, and I just want to know what you guys thought about just our discussion today and how the group was. Like, just give me 1 or 2 or 5 words, because I want to know, what can you tell me, positively or negatively, that you got and gleaned from this group?
I think seeing how much wisdom there is in the room. I think in this session, it was a great example of how beneficial it can be learning from people that are the same age as you. Like, wisdom doesn't have to come from people that are 20, 30, 40 years older than you. Lived experiences give wisdom, and that can come from someone that's 24, 25 years old as well. And I think that was really, almost really heartwarming to see, honestly.
It was fun. It's cool getting to know everybody. You know, it doesn't usually happen on this deep of a level first time you meet somebody, so it's cool.
I think a lot of people could benefit from therapy or group therapy and just letting out their feelings and just talking about the things that they're holding inside on a deep level rather than small talk and, hey, what's up, how are you doing? You know, just interacting on a deeper level is something that is very underrated.
What might happen next year? What if I get married and all this other stuff?
My mom would definitely be very happy, very elated that this is something that I'm specifying and making sure taking care of my community here in Milwaukee and hopefully also around the country.